Doesn't that just piss you off?
Yeah, that sounds like some terrible new age music there. I don't know what that was.
I didn't do that. I don't want people to get the wrong impression that I went out there and, I created an intro and I went through and I picked the music and I thought, hey, that's a good intro, because I did not do that. StreamYard randomly did that, so I got to figure this out because it just pisses me off. Like I don't even want to do the show anymore. It's that bad. Like we should just end it right. This could be the quickest Stat Diggers in history because that was just a horror. The intro is a big part of the show and it's ruined.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the last intro was that good, but it goes to show you, like Rafael Cerquera, when you're that bad, it sticks out, man. And I didn't like that at all. That really sounded like some lame ass new age, hippy dippy. I don't know, man. I didn't like it at all. We got to figure out a new intro for next week. The intro sets the tone for the entire show, and now I think the show is ruined.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're maybe out to contact StreamYard support, and it's like $25 a month. I think they even raised it. It. Yeah, it's like probably like $32 a month now.
No, it's like $45 a month, dude.
God.
They bumped it $20 on our asses. And I remember being like, what the hell did we do to deserve this? And then they do this to us? I mean, how much do they think we're going to sit here and take, Brady?
It's terrible. And then they change my mic settings on me. They do that all the time. I wouldn't be shocked if my mic wasn't even the right setting right now.
No, you sound right this time, but like I don't know how many times we talked before the show started. Your mic was sounding good, and then it switched you over to the wrong mic settings once the show started. Like they're messing with us on purpose here. What do we do?
I know. They need to figure it. They need to get some help. But what is up, everybody? Here's the intro. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Stat Diggers. We have UFC Vegas 103. We have Manel Kape going against Almabaev, and we are back in the Apex for a pretty fun fight card. I'm actually liking this card quite a bit. I think there's a couple fights on this card that are just insane, like fight of the night contenders. Like, how fun is Danny Barlow versus Sam Patterson going to be? How fun is it going to see Danny Barlow take off Patterson's head? That should be fun. Haqparast Ribovics should be a ton of fun. Hyder Amil is always in fun fights. William Gomis is not. That fight could be fun. Ramos Chepe Mariscal should be a lot of fun. Danny Silva, Lucas Almeida should be a lot of fun. Cody, Brundage, Julian, Marquez should be a lot of fun. I think a lot of these fights are going to be very fun. So I'm looking forward to it. Weezy, what is up? How's your Sunday? And are you looking forward to getting right back in the Apex for UFC Vegas 103?
Yeah, there's some fun fights on the card. It's not the best name value card, obviously, but 12 fights, and there look to be some all action bangers on this one. So always fun to break it down. Always an opportunity to make some more money doing what we love doing, which is sitting around and watching fights on Saturdays with our friends. So I'm gonna have some bets, I guess, this week. But it starts with this show always. We got to put the work in. We got to look at some of these stats, look at some of the trends, talk to the chat, see which way is up here, and then we can figure out which spots we're looking to attack here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this card and the main event. One of the least trustworthy fighters in Manel Kape.
Wait, is he allowed to wear shoes in this fight?
No, they're not going to let him, Brady. They just don't let you do that, Okay. So you can't wear shoes. Is he going to make weight? We don't know. Is he going to fight like a dumbass? We don't know. Is he going to look like the next champion? We don't know, dude. So it's going to be fun to talk about this card. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, me too. Let's quickly recap last night. UFC Seattle. So we had the Stat Diggers parlay crash and burn. Fluffy Hernandez, leg number 1. Leg number 2, it was the Alonzo Menefield and Julius Walker under 1.5. How did that fight go over, let alone to decision? That was crazy. And it was crazy because there was 6 or 7 finishes before then. And then that was the fight that went over? That was the fight? Really? So yeah, I mean that kind of sucked. The Stat Diggers on site piping of the week was Gene Silva, And yeah, he delivered a piping. I was hoping it would come in round 2 or round 3 for my bet's sake, but it came in round 1 with 45 seconds left, and there was a ton of pipings last night, man. I mean, Andre Feely got piped. Nick Klein almost pulled off a big upset, but he ended up getting piped. Javid Basharat got piped. Nikolai Veretennikov, he probably got piped the hardest last night. Eric Mikaniko got piped. Rafael Cerquera got piped. Yeah, Henry Cejudo's eye got piped. Just a ton of pipings last night. But yeah, I didn't have much action on the card. I actually hated the card from a betting perspective. Ended with probably too much action on it. I had 2 back-to-back terrible bets, half unit each on Cerquera round 1, round 2, and then Mick Kaneko by decision. Both were just god-awful bets. I had the Mansour Abdul Malik fight won't start round 3 in 2 parlays, so my night pretty much came down to that. And I was really upset when I saw Jason Herzog out there. I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? Herzog had a very good stoppage, late second round. So the 2 parlays I had lived on. I had the Kudalaba Aslan under 2.5 in that parlay to hit the first one. And then I had Menafield Walker under 2.5 for the second parlay. And somehow, some way that didn't hit. I had Gene Silva round 2, round 3, kind of thought he would, take his time early on. And he did. The fight played out, they were kind of messing around a little bit. Gene Silva was giving him high fives and all of a sudden landed a big shot, and that was that. So really loved those 2-3 spots, but ended it in round 1. And then other than that, all I had was the Song Yadong and the over 2.5, minus 134 for 1.5 units, my biggest bet of the night. So that came through, but all in all, down a unit. And yeah, I mean, if the Menafield fight finished under, it was probably up a unit and a half. And if Gene Silva won in round 2, round 3, it'd been a pretty good night. But yeah, kept it light, short and sweet. But yeah, not a ton really stuck out last week. Weezy, I think you kept it lightish as well. How did your UFC Seattle go?
I didn't keep it that light. I had a total of 9.5 units
Oh,
of
wow.
action, which is pretty big for me. I'm tend to be a little bit more of a conservative bettor. I'm trying to get to be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit higher volume. And 9.5 units at stake. I had 3 money line bets. I had 1 unit on Rob Font at plus 145. Loved that bet in terms of the way the fight played out, because it played out very close, and I had the plus 145 side. So I think it was a good bet. Whether he won the fight or not is definitely debatable. It was a very close fight, but take the Font win. My favorite dog of the week was Iwan Kutalaba. I had 1.5 units on him at plus 155. That cashed for 2.32 units. And then I had the worst bet of the week was 1 unit on Eric McConico. I don't even know if he landed 1 significant strike.
He landed 3. They gave him 3 in there.
They gave him 3. Okay, yeah. I mean, it was a rough one, and I had the over in that fight too, Brady. And he's out there doing like the fight played out like I thought it would. Because Ruzaboyev's not a high volume guy. He waits to counter. He kind of makes his opponents make the first move, and he wants to be the one countering. And he uses that length and reach advantage that he has. He's got a pretty good style for what his gifts are. And he fought smart, and he beat the hell out of Eric. Eric just had no chance there. So I lost a unit on Eric's money line. I also had a half unit on McConico by decision at plus 700. And I also had 1 unit on the probability parlay, which included the over 1.5 rounds for that fight. So after that fight happened, I was down 2.5 units, but we hit on the Ewan pick. We hit on the Font pick. I had 2 units on the under 1.5 rounds for Menafield versus Walker. I mean, that was half of the Stat Diggers parlay. That one did not cash. So that was a big loss. I also lost a unit on the probability parlay. I also lost a half unit, Brady, on Iwan Kutalaba by KO. 17 UFC fights. Half of his time is spent on the mat. And this guy has never attempted, not just not gotten a submission, but never even attempted a submission. So I said, why would I take inside the distance? This guy doesn't even know how to spell sub. I talked people out of betting on Kutalaba by submission. And he goes out there and, dude, Ebo is on the mat and like he's dabbing. He puts his arm in front of his own throat. He puts himself into an arm triangle, and he says, okay, I learned this like 15 years ago, how to do this, and he finished with it. So I had some, bets obviously that didn't hit, but I had 2 units on Anthony Hernandez to win in round 3 or by decision at minus 115. So I hit that for 1.74 units. I finished up 0.51 units, but the dog of the week cashed at plus 155. The ass shaving of the week, Alonzo Menafield, barely won, but he won. And the greasy 4-leg parlay that I give out on just the tip every week, that one hit too at plus 540. So had a half unit on that, cashed there. It was a pretty good week overall, but any week where you're up money is a good week, but cashed the greasy 4-legger. That was cool. So looking to make it 3 weeks in a row here with this card.
Yeah, I'm loving this card. I think it's a lot better than last week's card. But from a betting perspective, but last week's card from a fan perspective was phenomenal. Like
Yes.
so many outside the Menafield fight, of course. But so many finishes, which was freaking awesome. So we're about to get into it here. I do want to pull up a couple of comments that caught my eye. Yeah, what was up with that? Nikolai Veretennikov, please, for the love of God, get some help. There was a lot of bad performances last night, but that was very bad. It's demonic. I skipped out on my daughter's birthday party for Stat Diggers, and you're telling me it starts at 9:15 instead of 7:15. So sorry about that. It's me, demonic. She'll have plenty more birthday parties that you can go to. Benefield Walker going to decision after every fight, finishing before the 3rd round is crazy to me. Yeah, that cost me a nice winning night there. And that fight somehow, some way, not finishing. Comment saying pipe the like button. I agree. All right, guys, we're going to get into it. We're going to try to make this show short and sweet. Don't want to stay on too long. I know it's late for me especially. I got up at like 7:30. But yeah, I say we get into the card here. We have Charles Johnson going against Ramazan Temirov. We got Charles Johnson, 34 years old, 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. Temirov, 28 years old, 5'4" with a 63-inch reach. Temirov, 6 years younger. Charles Johnson with a 5-inch height advantage and a 7-inch reach advantage. Charles Johnson, 4-1 in his last 5 fights, a decision win against Sumadarji, knockout win against Joshua Van, decision win against Jake Hadley, decision win against Azat Maksum, and then a decision loss to Rafael Esteban. As far as Temirov, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, made his debut against CJ Vergara and won that fight in the first round and knocked out Vergara so bad that even Jason Herzog had to stop the fight. It took him a while. To stop it, but he stopped the fight nonetheless. So for me, I think this is one of the closest, if not the closest line fight on the card. It's one of those minute winner versus moment winner type fights where you're going to have Charles Johnson, who's, clearly the better fighter, all around mixed martial artist. He's fought the much, much better competition. He's going to have a massive height and a massive reach advantage as well. But Temirov, for the flyweight division, he hits like an absolute truck. He absolutely wings bombs on the feet. And if he touches you, you could get hurt. But yeah, Charles Johnson, I think he's only been dropped once in his entire career. Very durable, never been knocked out. I kind of see it either being like a Charles Johnson decision or maybe Temirov could be the first one to knock out Charles Johnson. So I think the longer this fight goes on, the more it does favor Charles Johnson. So just, in that first round, he's going to have to be careful. But yeah, I think Charles Johnson's very live here. The only thing I don't like about Charles Johnson is he is typically a slow starter, so maybe a live bet on Charles Johnson could be the better way to go. But I kind of like Johnson here, just due to the fact that he's never been knocked out. But yeah, so I'm kind of leading Johnson, and he is the dog here. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to bet anyone against Temirov, they better be durable. The way that this dude hits, I mean, like it's pretty crazy. He's got real power for the flyweight division, and that's just something you don't see a lot of in this division. And he really commits to his strikes too, because he's got kind of like this karate style on the feet. He's kind of bladed. He's kind of jumping up and down, and he's throwing a lot of spinning kicks and big check left hook, big overhand right. Everything that he throws, he's looking to end your night with. So that kind of style on a guy with a body like him, it's just not sustainable for 15 minutes. You can't be that explosive and that powerful for that long, even in this weight class. So Temirov is going to be very dangerous to deal with early, but if you're on that Johnson side, you're saying to yourself, hey, this guy's never been knocked out. It's not like he's been in there against big hitters outside of maybe Sumaderji in the last 5 fights. But, still, we know that Charles always is on weight, even though he's a huge flyweight. He's a professional. He's very, very active, which you always like to see. And at 34 years old, he still looks like he's in excellent shape, and he still brings a lot of speed and really good cardio and output to his fights. But he does get to, he does start a little bit slow, and he's going to have to be really careful about how he approaches Temirov. I'd be interested to see if Charles wrestles here at all, because I don't think Temirov has much of a ground game. I remember when I taped him last time for the Vergara fight, that I don't think that this guy is particularly well-rounded. He's 1-1 to the submission as a professional in 19 fights, but he's 9-0 to the KO. So obviously this guy is looking to knock people out, and the ground game is not exactly his forte. So maybe Charles could, show the well-rounded skill set that he has here and potentially start grappling this guy early. Make him work. Dude, make this dude work. He looks like a jacked up muscle hamster, and he throws 100% power into every strike that he throws. So why not wrestle him early? Why not, make his arms fill up with blood, slow him down, take some of that sting off of his punches. I think if Charles fights smart here, that he could look a lot better than what the money line says he will, because he's more experienced than this guy. He's fought the much better level of competition, this guy. He's got way better conditioning than Ramazan Temirov does, and way better pacing of his own energy. So I think that there's a lot of ways that Charles Johnson can win this fight. Well, I think there's basically one way that Ramazan Temirov can win this fight, and that's by knocking out a guy who's never been knocked out in 23 professional fights early. So I think that there's a lot of things on paper and stylistically that favor Charles Johnson in this matchup.
Yeah. I mean, I think a Temirov KO1, no way.
What?
Am I frozen?
No, you're good.
Oh, maybe I'm fried. Okay.
Temirov KO. I thought you were saying that there was a Temirov KO1 line, but there's no line on that.
No,
right?
no.
Okay.
I might be fried. No, I was gonna say, I think if Temirov is winning this fight, it's either like a KO1 or it's Charles Johnson winning like all the minutes, but Temirov lands that one big shot, right? So yeah. For me, it's dog or pass, but yeah, I kind of want to see where this line goes. It looks like money is coming in on Temirov. He opened up at plus 135. He's now the favorite at minus 132. Charles Johnson opened at minus 155. He's currently plus 112. And are you in Charles Johnson okay now, or still got?
No, I mean, we don't talk. I mean, like, he's really mad, and I mean, like, and look, I don't want any problems with him. I mean, like, he's the leader of a vicious group of street thugs known as the Skullet Gang.
Oh.
I don't want any problems with them. I mean, I just, I said something about his haircut. Look, and I mean, like, I don't think it's controversial. He thought it was controversial, but I don't like this haircut. I don't think it's controversial, though.
I'll tell you what, if I bet on Charles Johnson this week and he wins, I'll get a Skull shirt. Is that it? We got a deal. We got a deal.
Hey man, when Herzog stopped that fight for us, dude, you got the Team Herzog shirt. Why wouldn't we support the people who positively support our degenerative gambling habits? I mean, like, that's just what good people do.
Exactly. So yeah, I definitely did get a shirt to support Herzog, and he's been doing a little bit better. Herzog has, so that's good.
Yeah.
Charles Johnson is at a good price. Yeah, I mean, I certainly think so. I don't know if I would say he's a fraud. I just think he's kind of one-dimensional. I mean, this guy's a flyweight that throws bombs. We don't see a ton of knockouts at flyweight. I mean, he knocked out Vergara. That's great, but could he knock out Charles Johnson? I'm not sure.
Yeah, and his power is not fraudulent.
Yes.
This dude hits. I mean, he hits legitimately hard. Whether he's knocking out, Uzbekistani Uber drivers or whatever the Uzbekistani version of Uber is, or whether he's doing it at the UFC level, this dude's got bricks for hands, and he commits to his strikes. So yeah, the guy's got real power. But yeah, I bet on Vergara against him last time. So clearly I saw that like this guy is early knockout or bust, and I don't think that that's changed.
Yeah, and again, it's gonna be hard to knock out Charles Johnson.
Yeah, it is.
It's not easy. And just to survive a round. Yeah, if he survives a round, I think he very well could win round 2, round 3. And yeah, it's crazy. How did this guy knock out Joshua Van? Do you want to know why he did it? Because I bet Charles Johnson round 3 in like 5 of his fights, and it was this close every time. The one time I don't bet Charles Johnson round 3, he randomly knocks out Joshua Van. So that's why it happened. Come on. Everyone is going to talk themselves into Charles Johnson because he's their boy. Me and Weezy aren't fans of Charles Johnson and that haircut, but in terms of a fighter, I am a fan of his skill set. Let's see. Yeah, Johnson round 3. Johnson's sub is on the table here, says Propaholic. Potentially, he might go to that grappling. He went to it a little bit against what's his face?
Was it Sue?
And I thought there was another fight he went to a little bit. Had some close sub attempts against Maxim as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Charles has been dropped a few times. Tem. So the under, like in the under there, potentially. Maybe like the fight doesn't go just in case because Charles could get like a late 3rd round finish potentially. Oh, Weezy, you didn't hear about this. So I did a poll. You know how we do the weekly who needs help poll?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Let me close the poll. All right, who needs help?
Okay.
A, Rafael Cerqueira.
Yeah. Okay.
B, Rafael Cerqueira. C, Rafael Cerqueira. And D, Rafael Cerqueira. And the winner is Rafael Cerqueira.
Dude, I think I'm going with Cerqueira. He is a certified fraud, man. That guy is a certified fraud. Like I'm gonna make a Mount Rushmore of Uncle Weezy's UFC frauds, right? And there are 3 out of 4 that I think are ready to go on that list. One of them, Rafael Cerqueira. Yes. Another one of them, Vinicius Salvador.
Yeah.
Right. Another one, Denis Bondar with that fraudulent ass, Ukrainian regional scene record, fighting that pretzel vendor like 3 different times, just horrible. And then I don't know who number 4 would be, but I've got to look into it because we were talking about Askar Mozarov, but like everybody else was calling him a fraud before I did because they already knew about his fraudulent records. So like, I don't know, I'm gonna have to figure it out, but I think there's a couple other people that are in the mix for that Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, if you guys know any frauds, if you guys in the chat, throw some frauds in the chat. We'll pull them up and see if we can find that fourth fraud. Let's see. Yeah, Johnson does have some solid IQ, I'd say. I mean, the guy is very experienced. Yeah. I don't rate Johnson that highly, but this Temirov guy is a nobody round 1 merchant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there with. I'm not the biggest fan of Johnson, but I think he's solid. Ibo Aslan, fraud.
Nah, he's got big power. Ibo does have legit power. He's not a well-rounded fighter yet, but he's very young. So I think cut Ibo some slack. He fought Kudalaba, and like the reason I bet Kudalaba was there was no reason. Ibo Aslan was like minus 130 against Paulo Hanato on Dana White's Contender Series, and you're gonna make him almost minus 200 against Kudalaba. Come on, man! It was just market overreaction to the knockout wins against fraudulent, terrible fighters.
Yeah.
Song who?
Well, we know Yuzong who's a fraud though. Like we know that. Not only come on, let's chill. Rebellis, no.
Basharat, no.
Yeah, Moserov's like he's an obvious one. Yeah, live bet Charles. Yeah, I live bet Charles against what's his face? Jake Hadley. I think I got like plus 150 after the first round. So yeah, that's not a bad look. We got Dravi in the building. What is up, Dravi? Clayton Rodriguez is not a fraud. I know we got finished by Fareed Basharat, but he's not a fraud. I think he's yeah, CM Punk. I mean, that's an obvious one. Herbert Burns. Veratena. That could be one potentially. Herbert Burns, yeah, that's bad. There's a difference between like a fraud and a bum, though. Like I'd put Herbert Burns in like the bum category, right?
Oh yeah, there's a difference, like there are some guys that like Herbert Burns got here, his brother's in the organization and he was a very good Brazilian jiu-jitsu player, but then there are some guys who on purpose skip the line by only fighting frauds on the regional scene, and then they scrub the footage from the internet so you can't even watch tape on these guys. And then you just got to, because they train with somebody like Cerqueira trains with Jailton Almeida, you can just have somebody get in the matchmaker's ear and be like, trust us, this guy's good.
Yeah, like that dude that fought Matt Semmelsberger.
Yeah, Martin Sano.
Martin
Sano. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was
Semmelsberger's easiest paycheck in his life, man.
That was bad. Brady, I've officially deleted all my Jessica Andrade OnlyFans collection. Good. That's that's a step in the right direction.
Plus EV move there for Marcel. That's the next. Hey, Marcel, today it's the first day of the rest of your life, my friend.
Yeah, we have a problem though. Marcel's the guy that tags us in the pics, right?
Yeah, but there's somebody else that does it too.
I was gonna say somebody else has started to tag us in the picture.
It's horrible. It's just horrible. It's terrorism is what it is.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, he was telling me it's like he got a warning from X. Like the pictures were so disgusting and nasty that X actually sent him a warning and said, "Hey, come on, you can't be doing that. You can't be posting that. It's a little too handsome for the timeline. Too handsome." All right, all right. Let's move on. To the next fight. This fight's going to be a banger. We have Danny Silva going against Lucas Almeida. We got Danny Silva, 28 years old, 5'11", with a 70-inch reach. Lucas Almeida, 34 years old, 5'11", with a 71-inch reach. Silva, 6 years younger, same height, and it's going to be Almeida with a 1-inch reach advantage. We got Danny Silva, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He made his debut against Josh Kulabau, won that fight by decision. That was a very fun fight, especially that first round and a half.
Yeah.
Won a decision on the Contender Series against Angel Pacheco. That was a very fun 15-minute back and forth war. As far as Lucas Almeida, he is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Lost to Zellhuber on the Contender Series. Lost by submission to Pat Sabatini. Knocked out Michael Trezano in his debut. Got knocked out by Andre Fili, and then beat Tim Kwamba as an underdog by decision his last fight out. So yeah, this fight's going to be fun, man. I'm a big fan of both these guys in terms of their styles, in terms of bringing, fun and exciting fights to the table. Both these guys don't mind going out there swinging their dick, which I do like to see. And then Danny Silva, I think a smart path here would be to use that BJJ black belt a little bit, get this fight down to the ground, because although Almeida is a black belt himself, I just have not liked what I've seen. Anytime Almeida's on his back, it just looks very, very bad. Anytime Almeida gets taken down and is on his back, it's bad. Not only the Pat Sabatini fight, like I've seen him get taken down, get put into bad positions, and I think if Danny Silva is able to get on top, he can absolutely have some success. But yeah, on the feet, it's gonna be a fun fight. Both these guys are hittable. Both these guys are willing to eat one to give one. Both these guys have a lot of power. I trust the durability more of Danny Silva. But yeah, I think this has potential fight of the night. I would say potential fight of the night if there weren't so many other fight of the night potential fights on this card. But I think this is a phenomenal fight. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, with Almeida, you just have this great finisher with brilliant power. And he's really down to kind of just get in there and throw down. And it's the same thing with Silva. So I see this being a car crash. I bet the under in the Silva Kulabau fight. I thought that was going to cash out. It was such a good number too. I feel like I beat a lot of line movement. I feel like I got a great line on it, and I feel like it played out the way I thought it was going to play out. So I could see getting to an under in the small cage with this fight, man. I mean, Almeida's got just ridiculous power, and Silva loves to box too. And Silva doesn't have the best striking defense, and neither does Almeida. I'm just worried about maybe Silva grappling a lot here and trying to win minutes like he did in the Kulabau fight when he got 4 takedowns, controlled Kulabau for more than a third of the fight. So
almost subbed Kulabau, very close.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like that was so close at the beginning there. I was sitting there going, "We're cashing this under," No, man, just so close. But yeah, I don't see how this fight winds up being boring. And this is great matchmaking, and in a division where you see a little bit less finishes than the divisions around it, I think we're going to see some violence here. What do we got for an over/under right now?
So they put it at 1.5, which was smart.
Yeah.
But the over 1.5 got obliterated. It's now -265. The under 1.5 is +205. I definitely like an under, but I like an under 2.5 rather than that 1.5. I need that extra round.
Wow, +205. Wow.
Yeah, it's fast.
You know what? That's a big number, but you know what's a surprising number according to my over/under betting model, Brady, is that only on the regional scene for Danny Silva and his 9 fights, only one of his 9 fights actually ended under 1.5 rounds.
Yeah, he's like an attritional guy.
Yeah. So I find that interesting because, with Lucas Almeida, 9 of his 10 regional scene fights ended inside the distance. So I think he lost a decision once. So yeah, this is, I could see maybe why that over did get smoked, but that's an interesting number, Brady, +205 for the stylistic components of a Danny Silva, Lucas Almeida matchup. I could see somebody getting brutally served here.
Yeah, like I said, on the feet, they're going to swing dicks, and I think either could be live for a sub as well. They're both aggressive wherever the fight goes. So, yeah, I like some type of violence here, preferably like that under 2.5. I'm thinking though. I don't think Almeida can take all the volume. Yeah, I mean, sometimes when like Almeida's getting hit, he just doesn't have the best like reactions to getting hit. He's a tough dude, but yeah, I think he is finishable. Ends KO, could be trappy. Silva inside the distance. Lucas by decision. Pacheco was touching Silva up in the pocket. Yeah, he was. And Silva is hittable. And Almeida does hit hard. So from a money line standpoint, we have Silva -185, Almeida +160. Yeah, I would make this. I would make Silva the favorite. I think he has more ways to win. Younger, more durable, but Almeida hits like a truck. So
yeah, I think this. Yeah, I mean, he's going to see some power coming back his way. I think Almeida and Kulabau have kind of like similar striking styles on the feet. So, yeah, this is a fun fight, dude. This is, that under has my eye at that price.
his chin is terrible. I think you're meaning Almeida because Silva's hittable, but he's shown a chin thus far. Silva should grapple. I agree. I think if he can get this fight down to the ground, he could potentially style on Almeida there. All right. Yes, I think it's a very, very fun fight here in the Apex. We'll move on to the next fight. Oh boy. We have Montana De La Rosa going against Luana Carolina. We got De La Rosa, 30 years old, 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. Carolina, 31 years old, 5'6" with a 69-inch reach. De La Rosa 1 year younger, 1 inch height advantage and a 1 inch reach disadvantage. De La Rosa is 2-3 in her last 5 fights. A knockout win against Ariana Lipsky. Decision loss to Macy Barber. Submission loss to Tatiana Suarez. Decision loss to JJ Aldrich. And then a decision win against Andrea Lee. As far as Luana Carolina, 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Knockout loss to Molly McCann. Decision loss to Joanne Wood. Decision win against Ivana Petrovic. A knockout win against Julia Stoliarenko. And then a decision win against Lucy Pudilova. So this is a fight that I'm going to be passing on. Both of the women's fights this week, I think they have split decision like written all over them. Pre-tape, I was thinking I would take a shot on De La Rosa, but I was looking into Luana Carolina. I actually think she has very impressive takedown defense. She's very hard to take down. If she does get taken down, I would be kind of worried about Montana, having some top control. But yeah, in terms of, taking down Luana Carolina, it is not easy whatsoever. And when this fight is on the feet, I think Luana is just going to be the better striker. So Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's going to be a split decision, so maybe it's a dog or pass. But in terms of a pick, I think I'm going to pick Carolina to just do more damage over control type fight, stuff the takedowns, do the better work on the feet. Montana's kind of a walking punching bag, so I like Carolina as a pick. But in terms of a bet, I'm not laying juice on Luana Carolina. I bet Luana Carolina as a pretty big dog against Ivana Petrovic, and I needed a shower after. It was a terrible experience. I hated it. The bet cashed, but I just don't want to get involved at chalk here. So yeah, it should be a close fight. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, similar. I think Luana Carolina is a little bit underrated. I mean, when you've had 9 UFC fights, you're already pretty good just to get to that number in this organization. But she's won 6 of them. She's 6-3. I mean, her wins are just as good according to my strength of schedule metric as Montana De La Rosa's wins. And Montana's 6-5 with a draw. She's fought the better competition overall. She's been in there against Suarez, against Macy Barber. Those are 2 really tough names in this division. But, I think that they're pretty well matched because while we're going to see De La Rosa, who attempts 5.5 takedowns per 15 minutes, go up against Carolina, who sees about that many as well. You see Montana De La Rosa on average getting about 33% control time. And Luana Carolina in her fights, with a similar amount of takedowns attempts against her as Montana attempts against her opponents, getting controlled about 25% of the time. So, if you average that out, you say maybe 30% control time for Montana De La Rosa if she's able to get Luana down and hold her down. But, Luana's got good takedown defense. She's just not easy to hold down. And I agree with you that I think she's the much better striker, and I think the numbers really bear that out as well. You look at Luana's 58% defense compared to Montana's 52% defense. You look at accuracy at distance and see Luana Carolina 44.5%, while you see Montana De La Rosa at 31.5%. She couldn't hit water if she fell out of a boat. So, yeah, I like Luana to win the minutes on the feet, and I like Luana to have success stuffing some takedowns here and hopefully get back up if she does get taken down. But, yeah, I got to lean to the Luana Carolina side. I think she's a little bit better equipped to win the minutes on the feet and a little bit better equipped with her anti-grappling to limit Montana's success in the grappling exchanges here. But what is the line for this one right now?
Yes, it's minus 135 Carolina, plus 115 De La Rosa, which seems about right. I think it's going to be competitive.
Agree 100%. Like if you were to I haven't taped either fighter yet, but obviously, I've seen so much of both of these ladies. I know what they're both about at this point. So yeah, I think that line sounds about pretty good to me. I think Luana should be a slight favorite, and minus 135. That sounds perfect.
Yep, and I agree with what you said. I think Luana's underrated, right? I used to think she was some complete bum, but I don't think that anymore. I think she's actually good, and I think she's actually improved a lot. So yeah, good for Luana Carolina.
Agreed.
What is up, Go Beeves? Good to see you. Carolina decision. Carolina all day. Carolina easy. Daniel on the Montana De La Rosa. De La Rosa feels like a busted prospect, full gatekeeper status now. Going to war with Montana. I'm not going to war with either of these ladies, but my pick will be Carolina. This is the classic break the TV spot screaming at Montana to wrestle Utah, which is hilarious, Tim, because what was the fight where Montana literally refused to wrestle, and I didn't bet on the fight, but it was such bad fight IQ that even I was pissed off. It was the JJ Aldrich fight, Wheezy. Montana went out there and struck with JJ Aldrich for 15 minutes.
Yep, and lost a 30-27 unanimous decision.
Like what? So you could be breaking your TV if you bet on Montana De La Rosa and she doesn't wrestle, especially here, you will be breaking your TV. These two will swing dicks. Not this fight, Sawbucks. Not this fight.
Sawbuck like 8 minutes behind right now.
I mean, just
watching the Silva breakdown.
Yeah, not this fight. Not this fight. Montana via cage pushes. She will be trying to push the cage. That's for sure. Oh, I guess he is talking about this fight. The one Carolina. Unanimous decision. Where are you? You're watching Stat Diggers. You're watching Stat Diggers. 10:58 at night Eastern time, late night show. What is up, Forrest? Oh, let's see. She's hot AF. I know you're not talking about Jessica Andrade. Smash the like button. I agree. Yeah, I could not believe that Aldrich fight. Let's see. Marcelli's 6'1", 230.
Yeah, they were saying that, because he likes Montana De La Rosa, and they're like, well, her husband's a mixed martial artist, and he said he's not afraid of Mark, evidently, because he's going to be much bigger than Mark at those stats.
Oh, fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, probably going to be staying away from this fight here, but yeah, we got 390 of you in here. Late night show. Appreciate all you guys. If you guys could like the video, subscribe. You go live every Sunday for some Stat Diggers. I do also want to shout out the sponsor of the show, and that is our guy Avery Marino. Where the hell is the ticker? There it is. Boom.
Yes.
Shout out to our guy Avery for sponsoring the show. Give him a follow at MMA_very on X. He's also a sharp dude. Posts his reads each and every week. Go check him out on Twitter, MMA_very. Thank you, Avery, for single-handedly sponsoring and keeping the show alive. Appreciate you, Avery. And appreciate all you guys as well. I see you in there also. And appreciate the moderator, Dixon. You're doing a phenomenal job. Appreciate you, Dixon. Appreciate you. All right. And why are they making us watch JJ Aldrich and Andrea Lee? I don't know. We gotta watch some bad fights, right? Like we can't have all of them be bangers, right? Like there's gonna be some bad ones. Yeah, maybe Avery can come on and give some thoughts on a fight. That'd be cool. Avery, me and we use Avery talk every week, so maybe that could be interesting. So, all right, let's and boom, we hit it last week.
Yes.
Boom, boom. There we go. All right, let's.
Agreed.
Some of the banners I have on here. I forgive you, Jason Herzog. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Hardway. Where is Kim Winslow? What are some of these on here? Get some help, Claudio Poyas. What fight do you think that's from? Get some help, Claudio Poyas.
Oh, it had to be that Dan Hooker fight when
Dan
he just
Hooker.
beat 7 shades of shit out of him.
Happy Hall. That's weird. I don't remember typing that. Happy Hall. That's not something I would do.
Yeah.
Harry Hunsucker Fight Week.
It's been a minute.
Get some help, Jay Ellis.
He's got too many losses.
I think he has gotten some help. I don't think he's fought in a while, so that's good.
Good.
All right, so let me take that off of there. All right, and we will move on then to the next fight. Like I said, guys, we have absolute bangers on this card, and this is one of them. Danny Barlow going against Sam Patterson. We got Danny Barlow, 29 years old, 6'2" with a 79-inch reach. Sam Patterson, 28 years old, 6'3" with a 78-inch reach. We got Patterson 1 year younger, 1-inch height advantage, and a 1-inch reach disadvantage. Danny Barlow, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He got a Contender Series knockout win in the first round against Raheem Forrest. Third round knockout win against Josh Quinlan, and then a decision win against Nikolai Veretennikov his last time out. As far as Sam Patterson, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Made his debut against Yanal Ashmos, lost by first round knockout brutally, but bounced back with back-to-back submission wins in the first round against Johan Lioness in that bum Kiefer Crosby. This fight's going to be freaking awesome, Weezy. We have Sam Patterson, who has like the definition of tall man's defense. If you look up tall man's defense in the dictionary, it's a picture of Sam Patterson with that long ass neck, just staring at you. The longest neck you'll see. But yeah, I mean, he hands down, chin up in the air, begging to be knocked out. So that's probably why we're seeing Danny Barlow as like a minus 300 favorite. I think a Barlow left hand is very much in play here. But if Patterson can drag this fight down to the mat, it could get interesting. We've seen Barlow put in some bad spots on the ground early in fights. To his credit, he's been able to fight out of those. But Sam Patterson, if he gets on top of you, he is a very dangerous grappler. So I love violence here. I think somebody's getting served. You know, Danny Barlow is obviously very capable of knocking out Sam Patterson. I think most guys are. But Patterson also has that very sneaky, very tricky submission game as well to go along with it. So I like some type of under here. I am leaning Barlow. I just think the knockout is very much in play. I mean, Barlow hits like an absolute truck, and Patterson is very hittable. Just a Barlow knockout makes a ton of sense to me. Even Jason Herzog had to stop the Quinlan fight. And by the way, I went back and watched that fight. He almost got Quinlan killed. Quinlan was doing the stanky leg for like a total of 1 minute, doing the whole runaway thing. Finally stopped the fight. But yeah, knocking out Josh Quinlan's not easy to do. Quinlan is pretty tough and durable. He did go to decision with Veretinikov, but he did end up breaking his hand like in the first round. So yeah, I lean Barlow here, but I love violence in this spot. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I'm leaning Barlow as well, too, because I just feel like if he stops the takedowns, he's eventually going to knock out Patterson. And as good as Patterson's looked in his last 2 fights, and he's looked really good in those fights, you look at can you find 2 worse ground games in the entire division than Johan Leoness and Kiefer Crosby?
No.
I mean, right? Like Crosby, probably the lowest level grappler in the division. Shouldn't have been here in the first place. And Leoness, is a power striker. I think he's got some kind of grappling accolades, but we know that every time his fights hit the ground, that he looks like ass when he's there. So I just don't know how much we can take from those wins. But Patterson fought good names on the regional scene. And now that he's fighting up at 170, you might see him be a little bit more durable. You might be able to see him be able to take a punch or roll with punches a little bit better. But my God, I remember somebody saying in my chat once that even in Sam Patterson's Tapology picture, he's holding his chin too high, and he does. If you look at it, not only does that dude got one of the longest necks I've ever seen, no wonder he's 6'3", because he's got 8 inches of neck.
Oh my gosh, I'm looking at it now. Look at that.
Yeah, dude.
Wait, where is it at? There. Wait, there we
go. Even in the picture, his chin is way up there. It's just begging to be hit. And my God, Danny Barlow with that left hand to his, and Barlow's got some cheeky kicks too. His kicks get up there quick. He's explosive. He's strong. And guys like that are going to be very difficult to take down because they're so explosive. Because they're so athletic, they can just kind of push you right off of them. I don't know if Sam is going to be physical enough to drag Danny Barlow down to the ground here. But, I agree with you, Brady. This is one of those striker versus grappler matchups that you kind of feel like no matter where this fight takes place, somebody's going to be extremely dangerous. If it's at distance striking range, Barlow is going to be very dangerous. If this thing gets to the mat with Sam Patterson getting to a dominant position, there's a very high likelihood that he's finishing that fight with a submission. So I think an under 1.5 is not bad here. I just got burned. How do you lose on an under on this UFC Seattle card? Dude, right? I lost an over in the Basharat Simon fight. I lost an over in the Mechanico Ruzaboyev fight. And then the one under that I bet is literally the only fight that goes over, and it's Menafield versus Walker. Menafield's got bricks for hands, landed big shots, but man, Julius Walker, I think that dude's going to be pretty good, man. I thought he had a good performance against a much more experienced veteran on short notice for a UFC debut. I thought he did pretty well, but yeah, man, I for this fight, Brady, I think this might be a Barlow KO 1-2 here. That I see that's how it's probably going to go. But the question is Sam Patterson going to be physical enough and good enough of a wrestler to find an entry that he can get to a dominant position on the mat? Because if he does, he's going to be live to finish this fight as well. Absolutely
agreed. Barlow KO round 2. Unstoppable force versus movable object. Patterson sub sprinkle, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's the way to play him. Patterson getting a generational piping in this one. Yeah, Danny Barlow could be early running for the on-site piping of the week. We'll have to see. Yeah. Probaholic saying the under 1.5. I don't mind it. Eisen liking the Barlow KO2. Barlow money line will get steamed. Yeah, it is. It looks already steamed, man. It was opened up minus 225. It's already minus 310. So we'll see where it goes. Patterson opened up plus 120. He's currently plus 260. Let's see. How does this fight go the distance? If Herzog's in there and if Herzog has the over, that's the only way. That's the, or if Keith Peterson's very drunk.
Yeah. Yeah, and Keith gave somebody a pretty good chance to. I think it was the McConaughey fight, because McConaughey was getting piped in there, and like several times, and I think he gave him every chance to get back into that fight, and then before he stopped it.
Yeah, Kiefer Crosby needs help. That guy got subbed by Kevin Doucette in the first round.
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
he tried to throw he tried a judo throw.
Got his back shaken,
black belt,
and choked out. Yeah, that was
got choked out so fast. It was so bad, man.
Tapped by Kevin Doucette. It was crazy. What happens if Patterson gets on top? He's going to put Barlow in some very, very bad positions. That's what I'm thinking. Let's see here. He's a T-ball stand. Talking about Patterson, I'm assuming giraffe syndrome. Barlow should fold him up in round 1. UFC, who? No, there's some good fights on this card, man. There's some good fights on this card. Barlow by sub. I mean, Patterson's neck is very long, and it shouldn't be that easy or shouldn't be that hard to wrap it up. But Barlow's a knockout artist, very good knockout artist. Barlow KO1 is live. That's kind of where I'm leaning as well, but I would like an under even better. All right, so yeah, that should be a violent, fun fight. This fight should not be a violent, fun fight. It is Andrea Lee going against JJ Aldrich. We got Andrea Lee, 36 years old, 5'6" with a 69-inch reach. JJ Aldrich, 32 years old, 5'5" with a 67-inch reach. Aldrich, 4 years younger. Lee with a 1-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. Andrea Lee, 0-5 in her last 5 fights. A decision loss against Araujo, decision loss against Barber, decision loss against Silva, decision loss against Maverick, and the decision loss against De La Rosa. As far as Aldrich, she's 2-3 in her last 5 fights. A submission loss to Blanchfield, decision loss to Lipsky, knockout win against Liang Na, decision win against Montana De La Rosa, and then a decision loss against Veronica Hardy. So, yeah, this is just a complete pass for me. JJ Aldrich is a minus 190 favorite. And I just feel like this fight's going to be like a very competitive fight. Like this fight has split decision written all over it. So I'm not laying minus 190 on Aldrich, but at the same time, I'm not betting on Andrea Lee. I have a strong feeling that she kind of just doesn't give a shit anymore. Like that's kind of the vibe I'm getting with Andrea Lee her last couple fights, just kind of a don't give a shit type vibe. Doesn't really look like the Andrea Lee of old. She looks to be declining, very heavily. So 5 fights good, which is crazy. They're giving another shot here, but I'm picking Aldrich. But yeah, I'm not laying minus 190 on her, so it's a pass for me. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you lay minus 190 on Aldrich against anyone with a pulse, because she's just not somebody that's going to go out there and blow the doors off of anybody. I mean, she has an impressive record, 9 wins and 6 losses at the UFC level. That's very impressive, but it's kind of wild because you're like, wow, okay, so she's winning fights. So what is it JJ Aldrich does really well? Well, I don't know. I mean, like, she's got a negative distance striking differential. She lands 4.1, absorbs 4.8. She's never landed a knockdown, not one, in 15 UFC fights. She lands 0.7 takedowns per 15 minutes or on 2.8 attempts. So she actually gets less than 25% takedown accuracy. She's kind of efficient as a grappler. She outcontrols her opponents 18% to 7.7%. But I mean, if you're just somebody that doesn't really bet fighters and you're betting numbers, you're probably betting Andrea Lee here at plus 150.
Oh,
yeah, you probably are, just because JJ Aldrich is, there's just nothing there that leads you to believe that she's going to just go out there and mop the floor with Andrea Lee. I mean, Andrea Lee arguably beat Macy Barber. Andrea Lee's been out there against Miranda Maverick and Natalia Silva and Barber and some of the best fighters in the division, while JJ Aldrich is, kind of going life and death with Ariane Lipsky. She lost to her. She lost to Veronica Hardy. She beats Liang Na. She wins a unanimous decision against Montana De La Rosa, who refused to grapple. So I just think, like I say, if you're a degenerate and you just want to play the number here, I think you're playing the Lee side. JJ's not that much better than her anywhere. But JJ's pretty smart. She's got good fight IQ, and she's extremely white, Brady.
Yeah.
And I think that's underrated because when you're underneath those bright lights, white reflects light, and it can get in your eyes. It can slow you down. It can, you got to be at your best when you're in that octagon, and that white skin, that JJ reflects that light like it's crazy. So, I mean, like that could be blinding. It could be very disorienting.
Mm-hmm.
And, and frankly, the judges don't like Andrea Lee very much. So this is probably going to be one of those, you hold your nose, you bet JJ Aldrich at minus 145 by decision, and you cash a bet that you didn't deserve to cash, but you're like, I knew it was always JJ Aldrich by decision, wasn't it? You get to say it afterwards. It's a greasy ass bet that probably cashes at like a minus 250 clip here. It probably does, so I don't know, man. I think you and I will exactly have a total of 0 units on this fight track this week.
0% chance I'm betting on this one. And no, I agree, man. I mean, from a money line standpoint, it's dog or pass, but I'm not putting any money on Andrea Lee. I'm not putting any money on either of these fighters. It's an easy pass for me. Big time lotion fight. What?
Yeah, JJ's a babe.
We need to get her in that Florida sun. Let's get JJ in that Florida sun.
Yes. It might burn her to a crisp. They have to put her into the hospital, man.
It could. Okay, let's keep her out. Fight to suck minus 500 could be a parlay piece. Brady should share more of the same. Yeah, Austen got really mad at me. I think the last show, I didn't see your mess. I try to pull. I promise I try to pull up as much as I can. If I don't pull up a comment, there's either I don't see it or there's a very good reason. I'm not ignoring anybody. I promise you. So Austen, I'm not ignoring you. I'm trying my best. I gotta host. I gotta do the slides. I gotta talk about the fights. There's a lot going on. I'm running on 0 hours of sleep. I'm trying my best. The Austen found. I'm trying my best. Yeah, Aldrich minus 190. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Lee has an OnlyFans.
Does she?
Yeah, that's the rumor. Dixon, any insight on the Lee OnlyFans? Any insight? Lee's fight IQ is as good as her choice in men. Yeah, isn't she dating Tony Kelly?
Yeah, Tony Kelly. Yep.
Are they married or dating?
I do not know. I think they're together. I just don't know what the marital status is, nor do I care.
Yeah, Lee spread if she actually gives a shit. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know, man. Yeah. Let's see. 1-800-GAMBLER fight of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like. Yeah, I think that might be right. I think Andrea Lee probably a value loser. Even if she should win a 29-28, she probably loses a 29-28.
Yeah, this could be the whitest fight in UFC history, not to come to think of it.
It's up there. It's not like Andrea Lee is looking like Karolina Kowalkiewicz with a tan. I mean, like she's pretty white too, but JJ Aldrich is like Edmund Shabazian white. It's wild.
Tony Kelly gets a bad. Yeah, he has been getting a bad rap. Tony Kelly.
Yeah.
Apparently not a great guy. All right. Let's move on to this next fight. We have Douglas Silva de Andrade going against John Castaneda. We got Douglas Silva de Andrade, 39 years old, 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. John Castaneda, 33 years old, 5'6" with a 71-inch reach. Castaneda, 6 years younger. Silva Andrade with a 1-inch height advantage and a 3-inch reach disadvantage. Douglas Silva de Andrade is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Knockout win against Gaetano Perello, a submission win against Sergey Morozov, a decision loss to Seidner Magomedov, decision win against Cody Stamen, and then a decision loss to Miles Johns. As far as John Castaneda, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, a submission win against Miles Johns, knockout loss to Daniel Santos, decision win against Moin Gaffarov and Kung Ho Kong, and then a decision loss to Daniel Marcos his last time out in a fun fight. So we have Douglas Silva de Andrade coming in here, almost 40 years old. When does he turn in 40? June.
June, yeah.
Turning 40 in June. I do think he's slowing down a little bit. I was live watching that Stamen fight. I had a bet on Andrade. I'm not sure he won that fight. I was actually kind of surprised they gave him that decision. He got dropped badly in the 3rd round by Cody Stamen, of all people. That was weird, and lost that 3rd round, but still got the win. I'm not sure he won it. The Miles Johns fight wasn't that encouraging either. I think John Castaneda is the rightful favorite here. You know, the younger guy, higher volume, better cardio, potential wrestling upside. So yeah, I think Castaneda is the rightful favorite, but he's minus 230 here. Douglas Silva de Andrade, even at 39 years old, he does have power still. But yeah, I kind of think Andrade is kind of slowing down here. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, at 39 years old in the bantamweight division, Brady, you know that your days are numbered. And you know, with Douglas Silva de Andrade, I mean, the guy's got a crazy record to the knockout. I mean, in 36 professional fights, this guy's won 20 fights by knockout, and he's only lost by knockout once. So you know that DSDA is a guy that's got a serious power differential when he's on the feet. You look at his physique. You know, he's another one of these guys that's just bricked up with muscle and clearly has a ton of power that's on when he's on the feet. So you got to be real careful at distance striking range against Douglas. And he's got pretty good Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He's got pretty good takedown defense. So he likes to keep fights standing. And he's not the best minute winner up there, but he's got 6 knockdowns and he's only absorbed 2. And he's 2-1 to the KO at the UFC level. So you know that the guy hits pretty hard, and that because he has that power that you need to respect at distance striking range, and because his anti-grappling is pretty good, he's landing the bigger shots at range. He's slowing down the offense of his opponent, and he's got a 7-6 record at the UFC level, and his losses are to guys that have a combined UFC record of 47 wins and 20 losses. So the guys, if you're beaten Douglas Silva de Andrade, you're a pretty good bantamweight, you know. So Castaneda, though, I agree with Brady. Better volume. He's the better wrestler. He's the better all-around fighter with more ways to win. You look at Douglas Silva, right? 20 wins by knockout, 7 wins by decision, 2 wins by submission. And then you look at a guy like Castaneda, 6 submissions, right? 8 knockouts and 7 decisions. So he's a guy that can beat you in a number of different ways. And I think that he's picked up the volume, that he's striking. He's throwing a lot more offense when he's at distance striking range. He's trusting his boxing, which has always been pretty good. So Castaneda is about 6.5 years younger than Douglas Silva de Andrade. He's won 2 out of his last 3 fights. And he's getting wins against guys like Kyung Ho Kong and Moin Gaffarov. He's got a win over Miles Johns when Douglas Silva lost to Miles Johns. So, yeah, I think Douglas Silva de Andrade at 39 years old, and Brady can attest that this guy puts off a ferocious stink. Oh. You know, absolutely ferocious stink, as he has a game-worn jersey by, like a pre-fight, like he's warming up in this thing. And, yeah, man, Douglas got old man stink, and I think that old man stink is going to show off in the cage, and I think Castaneda probably beats him up on Saturday.
Yeah, I was just about to tell the story because I'm assuming a lot of you guys did not watch the DraftKings show, which I got to clip that, and I think I did post it actually on Twitter. But for Christmas a couple of years ago, I ordered one of those UFC mystery boxes, right, where you get some posters, potential autographs, and I did get something autographed, and it was a Douglas Silva de Andrade game worn like a walkout shirt, right? It was a walkout shirt. It's autographed. There's his autograph. And I don't know why, but the first thing I did was I smelled it. And I kid you not. Like it's the most disgusting smell I think I've ever smelled in my entire life. Like it's still this has to be like what, like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old shirt. Like this is an old shirt. You got the Reebok. Like this is a very old shirt, and it still has that nasty stink to it, dude. Like, I don't know why I still have that. I would like give it like do a giveaway and give it away, but if I sent this in the mail, I'd go to prison. Like you go to prison putting something like that in the mail. So yeah, it's still like it smells horrible.
The bomb-smelling dogs would set off alarms at the post office, and you'd have a bunch of agents visiting your house.
It's like I don't know how to explain. I don't know how to explain. Like it's like he went to the sauna with the shirt or something. Like was he chilling in the sauna with it? Like this is terrible. I need to get rid of this. But yeah, if anybody wants to hit me up, maybe I can try to sell it. Like who wants a game worn Douglas Silva de Andrade shirt? It smells like shit, but
20 wins by knockout, and it's not just the fists; it's the stink. They can knock your ass out.
Maybe $20 if anyone wants it, man. $20. I think that's now my hands smell like shit. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I need to wash my hands. So I'll do that in a second. But yeah, yeah, I think Andrade needs to get some help, man. I mean, that's bad. Get some help, Douglas Silva de Andrade. Like that shouldn't be happening. That shouldn't be a smell. That shouldn't be a smell. You can't wash. I mean, that takes away the authenticity. And it's autographed. You don't want to wash it. It's autographed. You don't want to do that. So yeah, Castaneda for me. Let's see what are you guys liking in this fight here. You'll see Lee picture soon enough, dudes. Oh, I mean that'd be better than Jessica Andrade. I mean anything's better than Jessica Andrade. She's getting piped. Andrea Lee's getting piped on OnlyFans.
Oh, is she?
I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know about that. Let's see. Yeah, the Blondes did very well last night. Well, Ricky Simone in particular, he came in blonde and he looked very good.
Not Allen, man.
Yeah,
not Allen.
Yeah, but Simone did. Yeah, no, it's disgusting. You know, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Let's see. Like, I can't pull up that comment, Tim. You got to urinate on it so the ammonia kills the stent. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. All right. No more Andrade. Forget her, Brady. It's over. Okay. Hey, you're saying it like it's a bad thing. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
No more Andrade. Okay, that's cool with me. That's cool with me. All right, let's move on and let me get rid of that. If anybody wants it, like $20, that's fair, right? $20.
I think that's fair, dude.
That's fair. All right.
20 knockouts, $20. Let's go.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Moving on to the next fight, and another fun fight. We got Chepe Mariscal going against Ricardo Ramos. We got Chepe, 32 years old, 5'6" with a 69-inch reach. Ricardo Ramos, 29 years old, 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. We got Chepe, 3 years older, 3-inch height disadvantage, and a 3-inch reach disadvantage. Ricardo Ramos is 2-3 his last 5 fights. Decision loss to Zybara Tuhugov, a knockout win against Danny Chavez, a submission loss to both Charles Jourdain and Julian Rosa, and then a decision win against Joshua Kulabau. As far as Chepe Mariscal, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, came into the UFC making his debut against Trevor Peek, won that fight by decision, beat Jack Jenkins by injury, TKO, beat Morgan Charrier by decision, and then beat Damon Jackson by decision. So Chepe came into the UFC as an underdog to Trevor Peek, underdog to Jack Jenkins. I think he might even been an underdog to Charrier.
Yep.
Not mistaken. He was a favorite against Damon Jackson, but not even that big. I think it was like -180. So Chepe is kind of doing a lot better than a lot of people expected. Chepe's been looking very, very good as of late. And Ricardo Ramos is one of these guys that I think the skills are there. I think the skills are absolutely there with Ramos. This guy's a black belt in BJJ, very good striking with Ramos. I just think he lacks a couple things. I think he lacks heart. I think he lacks heart, and I think he lacks durability. And if you look at the Chepe side, he absolutely does not lack either of those things. I mean, he has a ton of heart. Durability, in the past, a little iffy, but he's durable. And I went back and watched that Damon Jackson fight, and I was watching Chepe Mariscal just beat the day life out of Damon Jackson. Damon Jackson literally went unconscious at least 5 times in that third round. Jason Herzog, nowhere to be found, didn't stop the fight. And I was thinking to myself, man, if Chepe gets on top of Ramos and is landing this ground and pound, at least Damon Jackson was kind of trying to fight back. I think Ricardo Ramos is probably going to quit in there. So I think Chepe cooks Ramos and finishes him here. Ramos has been finished a ton in the UFC. He's been subbed multiple times. He's been knocked down multiple times. I remember the Lerone Murphy TKO knockout win. I could see something like that if Chepe gets on top. So yeah, I like Chepe here. And then I looked at the line, Wheezy, and Chepe Mariscal is minus 500. I just refreshed it. Chepe Mariscal was a minus 500 favorite. And what's crazy to me is skill for skill. If we put these two and their skills together, he's not anywhere near minus 500. But I just think people have a very, very bad perception of Ricardo Ramos at this point, and rightfully so. I mean, some of these losses are just bad looks. Terrible displays of cardio in some fights, terrible displays of heart, fight IQ, durability. But like we just talked about, like Chepe's been a dog in most of his fights, and now he's one of the biggest, if not the biggest favorite on the card. So I'm picking Chepe. I think Chepe finishes. I think Chepe is a potential piping of the week candidate, but this is a very wide line. Wheezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I mean, Chepe Mariscal, Chicago's very own, and this guy has been fighting at a very high level at the UFC. He's 4-0. And, he had a really good performance against Trevor Peek. The Jenkins fight, obviously, that was a broken arm. But, I love the pace that this dude puts on. I thought he beat Charrier. I think a lot of people had money on Charrier. They thought Charrier won that fight. I thought it could have went either way. But I thought Chepe's aggression is what got him the win in that fight. And then, I mean, obviously, what he did to Damon, I think that, yeah, it looks like Chepe did do his 6 months in prison for that. Now he's out. Good. And, now that he's out, he's ready to fight Ricardo Ramos. So, he's got like that prison, he's been in the yard getting underneath that bench press and taking care of business. And, now that Chepe, took his assault and battery charge and did his time for what he did to Damon Jackson in the cage, now he's ready to go again. And Ricardo Ramos is next up on the list. I think the line is crazy. But it's kind of like the Bukowskis line last week, where it was like, he was minus 300, and you're like, all right, well, if this line really is wrong, you're going to see, Bukowskis get, smashed down to minus 150 here. But he kind of just stayed there all week, and it was because, he probably is the better fighter. And I think it's shocking when you see Chepe at minus 500. When this guy was literally an underdog to Morgan Charrier and arguably lost that fight, So, minus 475, minus 500 against Ramos. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But, I mean, the thing is here is that, like you say, the difference in heart, the difference in aggression, the difference in just like going after a win and trying to break your opponent, that's Chepe, man. Like Ricardo fought like a complete dumbass against Culibao. He had this massive grappling advantage. He almost subs him in the first, shoots 0 takedowns in the first 2 rounds, and then it takes like 2.5 minutes for him to shoot a takedown in the third, and he gets it, and he and he wins the round based on him getting that top control. But this guy is not. He's an idiot. And like even the announcers were saying like, yeah, Ricardo was saying like that he wanted to test his striking in this match. Dude, you get paid to win. I mean, if you're fighting Josh Culibao, don't strike with him. Try to take the guy down and submit him. So it was ridiculous. I don't think I can really trust Ramos right now, but at the current line, I think if you're playing the number, this is probably dog or pass at the number, but yeah, I think Mariscal's probably going to pipe this dude on sight, Brady.
Yeah, could be a potential candidate. I think we're going to have a couple candidates to choose from at the end of the show for the on-site piping of the week. So yeah, Chepe minus 500, Ramos plus 375. The over-under stood at 2.5. The over 2.5 is plus 130. The under 2.5 is minus 160. Let's see. Because Ramos should die, but Chepe might not put him completely out and might drag to. I mean, if Herzog's in there, it is probably going the full 15. I could not believe he didn't stop the Jackson fight. I mean, Jackson, like, laying lifeless on the mat is not intelligently defending yourself. Am I like, Jackson was unconscious, face first into the mat, eating shots from Chepe, and Herzog wasn't saying fight back. He was saying, what, don't hit the back of the head. And he wasn't. And it was just terrible, man.
I actually heard Herzog say he's in corpse guard. He's intelligently defending himself.
Corpse guard.
It was face down corpse guard, which is not. It's like actually, very unintelligent defense. So yeah, I agree with you there. But I'll tell you something. Dick's Insider was saying that he might not be able to finish him. Dude, Chepe's from Cicero. This guy has probably piped dudes on sight like a dozen times before he was even in high school. I mean, like it's a rough neighborhood, Brady. And yeah, Chepe's a rough dude. And I'm looking forward to this fight. This is fun matchmaking because Ramos has got a lot of skill, but Chepe's just got that dog in him, and he's never gonna fuck off, and he's gonna pressure, and really make Ricardo wonder if he really wants to be there.
Yeah. And I want to be shocked if Ramos didn't show up here. I mean, remember he weighed in like 10 pounds over the weight limit. I think it was supposed to be against Lingo. He weighed in like 10 pounds over the weight limit. Fight got called off.
Did he really?
Yeah. I think it was against Lingo because that Lingo fight got canceled. I think due to a big weight miss.
Oh, no. Okay. I'm on Chepe's page. I didn't see that, dude. Well, was it a 135er or was it a 145? Oh my God, 154?
Yeah, I missed weight by like 10 pounds.
You missed his weight by that much. That is awful, dude. Yeah. Oh my God, 8-pound weight miss. Wow.
It was against Lingo, right? It's supposed to be Lingo.
It was yeah, you're absolutely right. It was against Lingo in 2023. And then he got submitted in his next two fights in the first round by Jordan and Rosa, who it turns out have awesome guillotines. But I remember at the time, it was like, dude, this guy Ramos doesn't want to be in a guillotine for more than 2 seconds. He's tapping. So, yeah.
The final scorecards for Chepe versus Damon were 30-25, 30-25, and 30-26, 90-76. Yeah, I remember like Chepe even landed like a knee at one point that folded Jackson as well. Herzog, it wasn't even close to stopping. I couldn't believe it. Over 1.5. Let's see. Yeah, so like I said, it's set at 2.5. I could see like an over, like an attritional type thing. Pass or pass. Yeah, I'm passing on a money line. Yeah. Chepe 2-3. As long as Herzog's not in there, Chepe 2-3 could be interesting. I think Ramos quits. I think the heart's a big issue. Just a terrible nail. Yeah, you're telling me, man. You're telling me that fight should have absolutely been stopped. Gary refs like he's double part. Gary Copeland.
He does. He so does, man. That guy. All right, it's over. It's over.
Oh, let's see. Corpse guard isn't as effective as it sounds. No, it's not. Mariscal. It could be like a 30-25 decision potentially. We'll see, man. We'll see. First thing, where's the value on this fight with the odds the way they are? Probably won't find much value. Like even like the Chepe 2-3 props, I'm guessing aren't going to be that great, but we'll see. All right, let's move on to the next fight. We have Hyder Amil going against William Gomis. We got Hyder Amil, 34 years old, 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. William Gomis, 27 years old, 6 foot with a 73-inch reach. William Gomis is 7 years younger. He's going to have a 3-inch height advantage and a 3-inch reach advantage. Hyder Amil, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, had a decision win Against Emre Samyez on the Contender Series, knockout win against Fernie Garcia in the second round, and then a first round ass shaving against Jung Young Lee his last time out. As far as William Gomis, he is 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Decision win against Sterno Aarons, decision win against Francis Marshall, knockout win against Giannis Gamori, and then a decision win against Joe Anderson Brito. So I'm kind of upset with the matchmakers on this one because they're taking two clashes of styles, two different fighters. With William Gomis, you have a very good fighter. William Gomis is a very, very talented fighter, very defensively sound to the point where his fights are just god-awful to watch. I mean, William Gomis fights are just the worst fights ever. Every single fight in the UFC is just even like the Brito fight. He made a Brito fight boring somehow. But he's good. He's a very good striker, underrated grappler, good takedown defense, and just really good striking defense. And then you have Hyder Amil, who's the complete opposite in terms of he's not as skilled or really anywhere near as skilled as Gomis. What he does have is just craziness, just absolute chaos, a ton of volume, wildness, just doesn't really give a shit in there. It's just going to try to go in there, take your head off and break you, kill or be killed type style. So, yeah, I kind of hate it, man. I mean, I would have liked to see Hyder Amil get paired up with somebody more fun, somebody that would kind of, fight with this guy. I don't think William Gomis is going to want to really fight with this guy. I don't think William Gomis really wants to fight with anybody. He kind of wants to do the opposite of fighting. So I don't know how this fight's going to play out. So, but, William Gomis looks like he's around minus 200, Hyder Amil plus 170. It's a weird fight for me. I'm not sure what to feel about this one. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight here?
Yeah, it's a crazy clash of styles because you got like Hyder Amil, who just doesn't even know what defense means. He just walks you down and, tries to make it an absolute dogfight. And his fights are so much fun to watch because he just doesn't give his opponents any time to breathe, any room to breathe. And he's there to fight you, man. He's there to fight you. He doesn't really care if he's taking a lot of damage because he's got confidence in his heart. He's got confidence in his conditioning. He's got confidence in his durability, and he's got confidence in his power. And that's a pretty terrifying combination of attributes because we see guys who fight with this type of style, and, they can take technical guys like Gomis if they're unable to keep it a technical fight and just absolutely drown them. And with Gomis, he can get some takedowns. He can find places to rest in fights, especially in the clinch. So he's just such a defensively sound fighter. Gomis, like, these are two fighters that you should really enjoy betting on, both of these types of archetypes of fighters. The all offense guy who's got that dog in him and is just never going to give you a chance to breathe. And then the technician that's dominant defensively. They're dominant because they don't take damage. And it's really hard to lose fights when fights are judged on damage and you're not taking anywhere. You're controlling the pace of the fight. You're deciding how you can stay safe, and you're landing enough offense to win these fights, So it's going to be a really hard fight to bet on. And whoever you pick, and you're going to have a good reason to bet that person. Like, if you're betting Hyder Amil, you're saying, I don't think he gives Gomis much of a chance to hide here. And let's face it, this guy Gomis 4-0 in the UFC, right? He's got a win by split decision. He's got another win by split decision. And another win is by majority decision. This guy has got 3 decision wins, and none of them are unanimous.
And then a fake knockout.
A fake knockout against Giannis Gamori that was a nut shot. Another fight that was fighting to a very close margin. So it is difficult to lay juice on William Gomis because he's not separating, but he's still winning. And he's winning off of defense, and he's winning off of fight IQ, and he's winning off of natural ability, being 6 feet with a 73-inch reach, being a southpaw, only 27 years old, Brady. So this guy Gomis is probably going to win a lot of fights up at this level. But this is going to be one of those tests that's going to be very difficult for him. So I'm not sure how big of a favorite Gomis is. I know he has to be a favorite here, but there could be some value on that Amil side, simply because the way that he fights is very difficult. It's very difficult to plan for, and it's very difficult to know how you're going to react to it if that guy starts getting his game off, because he's never going to fuck off.
Yep. And we are in the small cage, which would, in theory, help Amil. So Gomis can't run around that much. And yeah, it's crazy, man. Like William Gomis, so low volume, but at the same time, like nobody's able to hit him.
Yeah.
Hasn't absorbed more than 30 strikes yet. And Hyder Amil landed 42 strikes in 60 seconds his last fight. I don't think Gomis ever landed 42 strikes. Like, it's crazy. It's great. It's such a weird clash of styles here. But I want to be excited for this fight, but I see the name Gomis, and it's like, I don't know, man. I don't think this guy is capable of having an exciting fight, to be honest. But he's minus 200. Hyder Amil is plus 170. The over-under is juiced to the over. The over minus 285. The under is plus 225. I think somebody brought up the potential decision or some finish only for Hyder, potentially, depending on the line. I think that's interesting. Amil got to be like minus 400. No, Amil's the underdog, Daniel. He's like plus 170, which is interesting. Amil, yeah, that's the worry. That's the worry, because Gomis has taken people to the Gomiverse, man. He took Brito to the Gomiverse.
Yeah,
Brito didn't do much at all when the fight was on the feet. Francis Marshall didn't start fighting until 1 minute left in the fight. It was the weirdest thing. It's like Gomis hypnotizes these people. But I would be shocked if he hypnotized Hyder and Hyder just went out there and didn't at least try to get him. Yeah, could be punch and air. Could be. Get some help, Jason Herzog. Yeah, the finish only I don't think is bad. Good shout. Yeah, I agree.
Dude, I gotta tell you, Brady, you know what I like more than the finish only is just the under. Because if Gomis can knock anybody out, it's Amil, because Amil's gonna be there to be knocked out, and Gomis extremely accurate. And think about it, man. I think his power is just a little bit underrated because people are afraid to close the distance against him. Part of hypnotizing somebody is being a capable enough counter striker to slow down your opponent's offense. You look at like Nursultan Ruzaboyev, for instance. He's the same way, because he is patient, and because he's accurate, it really does slow down the offense. But I don't think Hyder Amil knows how to slow down. I mean, the guy could be a meth addict.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he fights like he's on methamphetamine, and that's why he's so much fun to watch. I mean, he's like, oh, look, I'm going to kill you, man. I think I can kill you before you kill me. So it's a fascinating clash of styles, but I think the way to play it is that I think that if Gomis does get a finish, and this guy has finished, 8 of his 14 pro wins, it would be against a guy like Amil, who's going to be there to be hit.
Yeah, maybe. Potentially. He'll give him opportunities.
Yeah.
Amil did get dropped by Fernie Garcia in the first round.
Yep.
What's up, D? Good to see you. Gomis over 2.5 when the price drops. The Gomiverse, I hear it's very dark and boring. Yeah, the Gomiverse is very, very boring. Hyder's coming for that ass.
He always is, man. That dude is just, there's no off button on him.
Gomis finished cab driver. Yeah, weren't the best.
That's true.
But yeah, it's like I said, it's a weird clash of styles there. But I know who I'm rooting for. I'm a big Amil fan, so we'll see if he can get it done. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is Austen Lane going against Mario Pinto. We got Austen Lane, 37 years old, 6'6" with an 80-inch reach. Mario Pinto, it's Pinto, right? Or is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. 26 years old, 6'5" with a 79-inch reach. Pinto, 11 years younger, 1-inch height disadvantage and a 1-inch reach disadvantage. Austen Lane, he has 2 and 1 no contest his last 5 fights. Had a no contest against Justin Tafa, then got knocked out by Justin Tafa in the first round, got knocked out by Jonathan Deniz in the second round, then won a decision against Rebelis de Spain. As far as Pinto, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, had a knockout win on the Contender Series in the first round. And yeah, I went and watched tape on Pinto, and yeah, he's not fighting the best competition by any means, but he does look skilled. He has some pretty solid striking. I've seen him mix in takedowns offensively. I've seen him, be able to stuff takedowns if getting taken down, be able to get back up, which was nice to see. And nice to see for this fight especially, because Austen Lane is going to try to wrestle here, get the fight down to the ground. And Austen Lane has had success lately. He took down Rebellis de Spain and controlled him for, damn near 15 minutes and got his first UFC win. He even took down Jonathan Deniz in the first round, was able to control him for the first 5 minutes, did gas out and got knocked out, but Austen Lane has shown a little bit of ability to get the fight down to the ground. I just think Pinto's going to have, better defensive wrestling than Despain and Deniz here. And if this fight is on the feet, Austen Lane has that tall man's defense, very hittable, really just not the best striker in general. I think Pinto's going to have a pretty big advantage. So although Lane is looking a lot better than I thought he would in the UFC and is having a lot more success than I thought he would, I think that success might come to an end here. But, oh, geez, Pinto's minus 370. What could go wrong? Oh, minus 370. I don't know about that. But yeah, I kind of lean towards Pinto stuffing the takedowns and probably touching the chin of a very chinny Austen Lane who's been knocked out 5 times, all within the first round and a half. But geez, minus 370 on somebody making their debut who's fought nobody. What could go wrong? Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty perfectly because, Austen Lane is dangerous, dude. The guy's extremely athletic, 6'6", 80-inch reach, former football player. So, yeah, if this guy hits you, man, it's going to be a problem, but he's not a very skilled striker, and he's a mid-level at best wrestler. And Mario Pinto, is going on 27 years old only, and he's just got much cleaner striking. That left hook that he knocked out Camacho with on Dana White's Contender Series was really pretty. Great counter, great timing, super precise, and yeah, like you said, he shows a little bit of a rounded game on the regional scene. So he looks like a really good prospect, like a really talented prospect at only 26 years old right now. So I see why he's a big favorite like this, but this shit goes tits up all the time.
I know.
Dude, Dana White's Contender Series with a great performance on DWCS, less than 10 professional fights, and you come in and you make your UFC debut against a more experienced opponent and, you lose. And it happens all the damn time, and especially in a division like heavyweight where there's so much variance and, and when everybody has power. So, you look at the guys that Pinto's out there fighting on the regional scene. You think any of them are as explosive of athletes as Austen Lane is? No. I mean, and Austen Lane's got 19 professional fights to his credit as well. So, yeah, this one could absolutely play out a lot closer than people think it will. So, it's an interesting fight, but I think this Pinto guy is a great prospect, and yeah, I'm definitely picking him to win this fight. It's just, sometimes you feel like the market they've kind of got it right, but they put it to a price where it's like, you're overpaying for a UFC debutant in the heavyweight division. There are so many of these guys that come off of Dana White's Contender Series, and you just didn't know that the guy they finished early on Dana White's Contender Series was a complete fraud, until they actually get up to that UFC level and they're fighting UFC level competition. And they're like, oh, it's a lot harder for them now. So, and it's not like Pinto's just knocking everybody out in the regional scene either. He's got 3 decision wins. And I think that's a good thing because we've seen him go 5 rounds and win a decision as well in Levels Fight League. So, yeah, I think Pinto's a great prospect. He should win this fight, but the line's got it in a place where I don't really want to get involved.
Yeah, same. No, I was really impressed with Pinto. Very impressed. Oh boy, the under 1.5 got smashed. It was at minus 105, and I had some mild interest there just because Austen Lane, all of his finished losses do come under. But at minus 155, I am 1,000% okay with just passing. Because like you said, Pinto has been the distance multiple times. So probably just going to sit back and watch this one. Pinto well-rounded. It's a nightmare for Lane. Yeah, he is. He is well-rounded. We don't see a ton of well-rounded heavyweights these days. So yeah, it's good to see. Austen Lane in the UFC, but they cut Biggie Boy. Yeah, it's crazy. They cut Parker Porter too. I don't get it, man.
Yeah, Rebellis de Spain cut. And, now karate combat's on the map, and he's just shaving ass over there.
Right? It's crazy. Oh, let's see. Mario Pinto has shown good cardio in the past. Lane's cardio is not good. Agreed.
Yeah.
Would not be shocked if Pinto gets a late round finish. I think it can come in any round, to be honest. It could come in round 1, 2, or 3, but I think it does potentially come. It does potentially come at some point. Let's see. Mario Pinto via first round, minus 10,000. I think I'll get better odds than that. And yeah, undefeated fighters have been losing lately. You see that?
I know.
Yeah, somebody posted that yesterday. Undefeated fighters have been not too good.
And decisions too, because usually those undefeated fighters get those close decisions. And that was what I was worried about for the Matsumoto fight, because I had Font. I'm like, he's a young kid and he's undefeated. I thought that he won the second and third, Font, but I was also like, I wouldn't be surprised if Matsumoto got the decision, but split decision could have went either way.
Yeah, I was shocked to see 2 judges gave Font round 1. I was kind of shocked.
That's stupid.
Yeah,
that's just stupid.
I thought it was pretty clear. Matsumoto round 1, Font round 3, and then round 2, could go either way type thing. But yeah, that is crazy. Typically they do give it to that undefeated guy, so that's interesting. All right, let us keep moving on to the next fight. And yeah, this fight should be freaking awesome. We got Nasrat Haqparast going against Esteban Ribovics. We got Haqparast, 29 years old, 5'10", with a 72-inch reach. Esteban Ribovics, 28 years old, 5'10", with a 69-inch reach. Ribovics 1 year younger, same height, and it's going to have a 3-inch reach disadvantage. Haqparast, 4-1 his last 5 fights. Decision loss to Bobby Green. Decision win against Sean McDessie. Decision win against Landon Quinones. A knockout win against Jamie Bilarki. And then a decision loss to Jared Gordon that the judges scored for him somehow. As far as Esteban Ribovics, he is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He knocked out Thomas Paul on the Contender Series in the first round. Lost a decision to Loic Rajabov. Beat Camilla Kirk by decision. Knocked out Terrence McKinney in the first round. And then won a split decision against Daniel Zellhuber in one of the best fights of the year last year. So yeah, this fight's going to be awesome. Esteban Ribovics is a very fun fighter. And what I like about this fight for Esteban, just from like a fan perspective, is Esteban Ribovics literally has the worst takedown defense in the entire UFC. He wants to kind of be taken down, and he'll threaten with his takedown defense is a Kimura. So you can take down Esteban Ribovics, but Haqparast is probably not going to try to take him down here. I think these two are going to strike, and when Esteban Ribovics strikes, you're in for a very fun fight, man. I mean, anytime we see this guy strike, this guy's down to go out there, throw defense out the window, and just kind of take his dick out and start swinging it and see what happens. Esteban Ribovics is a very fun fighter. Haqparast has some good volume in his own right, good power in his own right. Yeah, I think this has to be fight of the night, I think, Weezy. What are your thoughts on this fight here?
Yeah, I mean, I think Haqparast is going to be a little bit more technical on the feet. He's got great movement. He's got great footwork. Always had great distance striking defense, sitting at 64%. And that's on 17.5 distance strike attempts against. So, that's 5% better than the divisional average. And then you look at a guy like Ribovics, because this guy is just throwing tons of volume, dude. 21.9 distance strike attempts per minute spent at distance. He's landing 10.5. Dude, it's almost double, or it's more than double the divisional average. The division at 155 is averaging 4.7 distance strikes per minute landed, and Ribovics is landing 10.5. So these guys are going to be in each other's faces throwing down, but I think that Haqparast is going to be a little bit more technical, and he hits hard too, dude. Mm-hmm. The thing is, Haqparast, I don't think he gets credit for how hard he hits, because he's not a big knockout threat. Only 2 of his 9 UFC wins come by way of knockout, but he's got a 7-to-1 knockdown ratio. So Nasrat's fast, he's defensively responsible, and he's precise with his strikes. If you get a little bit reckless trying to close distance on him, he's really good at countering and landing shots. So, but Ribovics just went out there against a guy in Zellhuber and won, by making it a dogfight against a taller, longer, more technical kickboxer that does a really good job of using kicks to maintain range. Ribovics just went in there and he's like, let's get into this pocket and let's just swing. And it wound up being one of the best fights of the year. I had Ribovics as my dog of the week that week, cashed that one, made some money on him. That was really fun. And that was just such a great fight. UFC Noche, that the atmosphere there, the visuals there, that was one of the more memorable fights of 2024. So yeah, man, anytime you put Esteban Ribovics, on a UFC card, you're going to get your money's worth, because this kid brings it every damn time. And he's, they're some of my favorite fighters. I mean, Hyder Amil and Esteban Ribovics are low key a couple of my favorite fighters in the UFC right now. They're both on this card in the UFC Apex in a small cage. I think the small cage favors Ribovics here, by the way, because Haqparast does have such good footwork and movement. I think if this was in a big cage, I think I'd be a lot more likely to bet him. But I think Ribovics is going to make this a dog fight, and it's going to be really interesting to see which one of these guys prevails in that type of a fight.
Yeah, this fight's going to be just absolute awesomeness, I think. Ribovics opened up plus 180, I guess. And he's currently minus 250 now. Haqparast is currently a plus 210 underdog. So yeah, heavy chalk here. Yeah, heavy chalk on Ribovics. I think a lot of it has to do with that last performance. Really, both guys' last performances. Against Zellhuber, Ribovics looked very, very good. That was a great win. And as far as Haqparast, that Gordon fight was a horrible look. In that second round, it looked like Haqparast was kind of breaking, really slowing down. I thought Gordon was about to KO Haqparast at one point in that second round. Ended up getting the win, but I don't know. I thought Gordon clearly won that fight. But yeah, it's a wide line. What I don't hate it. Like the under 2.5 is plus 200. Both these guys are very durable. Has Esteban ever been? I don't think he's been knocked out, right?
Never, no.
Haqparast has been knocked out once. So both these guys are durable, but both these guys just have so much firepower. And I think these guys are just going to swing their dicks around the entire fight. So I don't mind the under, but it could be one of those unders that somehow ends up going to decision, fight of the night type fight. So yeah, I don't know. It should be a good one though.
It's definitely an overreaction to put Ribovics at plus 160 versus Zellhuber and then make him a minus 200 favorite versus Nasrat Haqparast.
Yep.
That's my opinion. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the recency bias, short-term swings are some of the features of this sport where you can take advantage of that recency bias. It's part of MMA. People will come off their best performance looking like dog shit, and people will sometimes come off their worst performances when they're young, like Haqparast at 29 years old, and look great. So it's an interesting swing in money lines on the Ribovics side in just one fight, from the Zellhuber fight to the Haqparast fight.
Yeah. Yep, it's a wide line. I do lean Ribovics, though. How do you rate Ribovics' cardio? I think it's very good. Very good cardio.
Agreed.
Porn star-like cardio. I would agree with that. Esteban Ribovics by Dick Salling.
Okay.
We got Monk in the building. Good to see you, Monk. Happy Sunday to you as well. Appreciate you for stopping by. I bet a Haqparast by knockout at like plus 440 against Jimmy Malarkey. What a line. What a line. You won't see that ever again.
Yeah.
The over is getting steamed too. I love Ribovics inside the distance. Like Ricky Simone coming off 3 losses, and we got him as a huge dog against Boshtarat. Yeah, Ricky Simone got it done, man. That blonde hair, I think, had something to do with it for sure. Is anyone else hoping the main event gets scrapped so the co-main gets the right spot at the top of the card? Oh boy, that'd be awesome, man. Speaking of the co-main, though, let's talk about it, Weezy. We have the co-main event. Cody Brundage going against Julian Marquez. We got Cody Brundage, 30 years old, 6 foot with a 72-inch reach. Julian Marquez, 34 years old, 6'2" with a 72-inch reach. We have Brundage 4 years younger. Marquez with a 2-inch height advantage. Got the same reach there. Brundage is 2-2 and 1 no contest his last 5 fights. Had a decision loss against Cedricus Dumas in one of the worst efforts I think I've ever seen in an entire. I think it's between Cody Brundage against SD Dumas for one of the worst efforts, or William Knight against Marcin Prachnio. I think it's those two. Those two are the worst efforts I've ever seen. Brundage landed 3 significant strikes in 15 minutes, so that was bad. But he did go out there and brutally knock out Jacob Malkoon shortly after that. Remember that, Weezy? He brutally knocked
first
out,
round KO.
bounced his head off the canvas, and bounced back after that. Then he did bounce Reese's head off the canvas the next fight. Got submitted by Bo Nickel, and then got knocked out by Abdulrazak Al-Hassan, but got hit in the back of the head and ended up being a no contest. As far as Marquez, 2-3 his last 5 fights, submission win against Maki Pitolo, submission win against Sam Alvey, then back-to-back knockout losses to Rodriguez, Barrio, and Zachary Reese. So, I mean, we what was the fight that we said was 1-800-GAMBLER earlier in the, I think
Lee De La Rosa, I think, or maybe it was the Aldrich fight.
This is the 1-800-GAMBLER fight of the night here, because, like, how can you trust either of these guys? On one hand, you have Julian Marquez, who, you know, what's he good at? He can, you know, he can grapple a little bit. He hits hard. He used to be durable, but geez, back-to-back knockout losses. I'm not sure what Marquez is that good at, to be honest. Cody, and then on the flip side, you got Cody Brundage, and it's like, I know he's a friend of the show, but gee, these last couple, they just haven't been that encouraging. So I can't trust either one of these guys. I don't even know what to think of this fight. I'm actually shocked they made it the co-main event, because why? Well,
here's I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, right? And I know why.
Why?
Because the main event is Manel Kape versus Asu Almabaev, and we know that Kape's going to fuck this up, and this fight's not happening. So we make Marquez Brundage the main event, 5-round fight. Neither one of these guys is good enough to beat the other one. So can you imagine how spectacular a 4th and 5th round of Cody Brundage versus Julian Marquez would be? It would bring back memories of Dada 3000 versus Kimbo Slice. God rest Kimbo Slice's soul. It would. I'm telling you, Brady, this is going to be a fun fight. I mean, I don't think this fight's going to suck, dude.
It's not going to suck. I agree.
It's not going to suck, man. But who wins?
I don't know.
I think Cody wins. I think Cody's got this one, dude. Right?
By DQ, right? DQ, you think?
No.
No?
I think he's going to out-wrestle Julian Marquez. Right? And while it's on the feet, I mean, Julian just might as well get an Everlast tattoo right across the middle of his chest, because this dude is a heavy bag. I mean, he takes more damage than anybody I've ever seen. I mean, people call him durable. I mean, but durable is another, way of saying that this guy's never dodged a punch in his life. So I think Cody's the better striker, and I think Cody's the better wrestler. And because he's the better wrestler, hopefully Cody won't be pulling Gilly and winding up underneath Julian, because I think that's what could be the problem, is if he winds up on bottom. I mean,
geez.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he made Cedricus Dumas look like George St. Pierre out there.
George St. Pierre.
With top control and ground and pound, and they're like, "Oh, this dude ain't kidding up." Remember when St. Pierre would take somebody down and be like, "All right, well, that's the round," That's what it's like anytime anybody ever gets on top of Cody Brundage, the round is over. Either he gets submitted, ground and pound finished, or the round ends. So, as long as Cody doesn't wind up underneath this dude, I think he's going to be beating him up on the feet, and I think he's going to be getting top control. I think Cody's going to win this fight, dude.
No, I get the angle. And I might be picking Cody too, but he's never taken somebody down and controlled him, ever, which is crazy to say, but in his entire UFC career, he's never taken anybody down and controlled him.
Yeah, I mean, he gets takedowns,
they either
get back up.
He loses.
They either get back up or they reverse them, right?
every time.
Or he goes for that fucking guillotine.
Yeah.
And he puts himself on his back.
Like
yeah.
against Mikhail Olazechuk, he got reversed.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he got ground and pounded out because Mikhail actually has really good ground and pound. And Cody just can't get up off his back, dude. You know, that's such a bad thing for him to be jumping Gilly when he has such a massive hole in his game off of his back. That's always been the worst part of Cody's game. Dude, he's got power on the feet. You know, he beat the shit out of Terigi and Gore on the feet. He was knocking down Rodolfo Vieira. You know, he lands some big shots at range, dude.
Yeah, no, I think he's very live to knock out. I think Marquez, somebody in the chat said the chin of Marquez is dust. But somebody else said, like, Marquez, although very bad fighter, he does have heart. He does have heart. Whereas Brundage, you know, I don't know sometimes. So it's a mess of a fight, dude. But Marquez is minus 175, which you can't really make a minus 175 against anybody, right? Like there's not really a fighter in the UFC in the middleweight division. I think I'd lay minus 175 on Marquez. Can you think of anybody?
So check it out, right? One of his best win is probably Maki Pitolo. He got his ass shaved for about 2.5 rounds of that fight, and then won by guillotine, you know, late in the fight. And dude, Maki Pitolo got 7 shades of shit beaten out of him by Eric McConico. Yeah, who did that yesterday? You know, who did that to a guy on 8? You know, to an Uzbekistani, you know, guy with gigantism who's got no cardio. Like that's who beat the shit out of Maki Pitolo recently. So, and then the next win after that was against Sam Alvey. You know, and then Marquez just he's a heavy bag in front of Rodriguez. He's a heavy bag in front of Marc-Andre Barrio. He gets dropped with the first kick that Zach Reese throws and finished in 20 seconds. Yeah, man. I mean, I have no idea other than just pulling a Homer Simpson how Julian Marquez wins this fight.
I mean, I could think of a couple different ways, but I'm not laying minus 175 on Marquez. I'm not betting on either one of these guys. I mean, both guys I have zero trust and zero faith in both of them. But yeah, Marquez minus 175. Minus 175.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Cody's the side at that line, dude. Really.
Yeah. Yep, it's a pass. I just can't imagine just pulling the trigger on either of these guys. Marquez has some of the worst statistical defense in the entire UFC, but if anyone can lose to that, it's Cody. Somebody said, who said it? Somebody said that Brundage is talking about retiring potentially after this fight. Forget who
I did not hear that,
but it wouldn't shock me. Cody didn't take a shot. Cody Brundage round 1 DQ. Don't sleep on it, dude. I hit a 20-1 prop on Brundage KO 1 against Malkoon. One of my best hits ever. Marquez by DQ. Oh, Marquez by DQ. What a twist. I could see something crazy happen in this fight. Brundage via round 1 illegal blow. I could see it, dude. I think the DQ's live, man. If there's
so many times, yeah.
If there's gonna be a DQ win, it's this fight right here. But yeah, enough with it. I can't believe they have that the co-main. This is the worst co-main event since that. Who was it? Felipe, Jorgen De Castro versus that Carlos
Felipe.
Yeah, it's the worst co-main event since that fight.
Some of those sloppy heavyweight co-main events where it was like, what are they doing?
I know they did that a lot back in the day, like just terrible fights. But let's move on to the main event. Before we do so, we have 466 of you in here. If you guys have not yet, be sure to smash the like button. Let's see if we got at least 100 likes. Nope. Oh, we did it. 104.
Yes. Thanks, guys.
We will be showing up next week. Yes.
Thanks to Avery Marino and the 100 likes on the video. Thank you, guys.
Yes. All right. Main events. Manel Kape going against Almabaev. We got Manel Kape, 31 years old, 5'5" with a 68-inch reach. Almabaev, 31 years old, 5'4" with a 65-inch reach. Same age there. Kape with a 1-inch height advantage and a 3-inch reach advantage. Manel Kape, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Knockout win against Zalgas Sumagulov. Decision win against David Dvorak. Decision win against Felipe dos Santos. Decision loss to Muhammad Makayev. And then a knockout win against Bruno Silva. As far as also Almabaev, he is 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Submission win against Ode Osborne. Decision win against Cedric Vergara. Decision win against Jose Johnson. And then a decision win against Mateus Nicolau. Who was... I know this wasn't the original matchup. Who was Kape supposed to fight?
Oh, let me look. Because he was supposed to fight... Well, no, it looks like Almabaev was supposed to... Oh, yeah, Royval.
Kape versus... Oh, my God. What a fight that would have been. Jeez.
That would have been awesome. And then Almabaev was supposed to fight Urseg. Urseg got rebooked. Then Almabaev was supposed to fight Alan Nascimento. And then they rescheduled Almabaev to fight Kape when Royval dropped out.
Okay. Yeah, this is a big step up in competition for Asa Almabaev. And the Nicolau win, it's not a bad win by any means. I think Nicolau's very good, but Jose Johnson, CJ Vergara, Ode Osborne, nothing to write home about. I think Almabaev's a really good fighter, really good wrestler, really good control, really good grappling. Manel Kape, early in his career, we're talking like back in 2018, 2019. Have seen him taken down. He's been submitted a couple times, but I think he's really patched up that hole in his game. He's now a black belt in BJJ, and we've seen that he is very, very hard to take down and very, very hard to hold down against UFC-level guys like Muhammad Makayev, like an Alexander Pantoja. These guys aren't able to take him down and hold him down. So I'm not sure, a guy like Asa Almabaev is going to be able to do so, over the course of 25 minutes. On the feet, Manel Kape is clearly the better striker, but like you said, I think at the beginning of the show, Weezy, sometimes Manel Kape just decides to go in there and just not throw anything. So I don't know. I definitely think Kape wins the fight, but Manel Kape is a guy that, sometimes, he's a little inconsistent. Sometimes he shows up, he looks incredible. Sometimes he doesn't show up. So, but yeah, I'm liking Kape here in this one. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I mean, you got a clash of styles, and Kape being the kind of guy who just wants to stay at distance striking range, where he's got that phenomenal power, big size for the division, explosive athleticism. And even though he's not the best minute winner at range, he is a phenomenal moment winner. This guy finishes fights. He finds those big moments on the feet, those big strikes that can easily win him rounds. And he's good enough to keep the fight standing. Look, I mean, he's been 95 minutes in the UFC, over 8 UFC fights, and 85 of those 95 minutes are spent at distance striking range. And he's only allowing 1.1 takedowns per 15 minutes on 4.9 attempts against. So over 77% takedown defense, and his opponents are only controlling him less than 9% of his UFC cage time total. So Almabaev, on the other hand, only spends 37% of his UFC octagon time at distance striking range, and he out-controls his opponents 59% to 3%, winning 95% of the control time positions in his fight. So this fight's going to be about which one of these guys is able to get their game plan going. Is Kape going to be able to stuff the takedown attempts in the small cage here, deal with the pressure of Almabaev, and keep this fight standing where he'll be landing the bigger shots and where he's the much more dangerous striker? Or is Almabaev going to be able to get into the clinch here? Is he going to be able to get in on Kape's hips, make him work, tire him out, get more takedowns as the fight goes on, and easily get to dominant positions and potentially get to this guy's back? Kape has 7 professional losses, and he has been subbed twice, but they come much earlier in his career. And since then, we know that Kape has really shored up that hole that he used to have in his grappling game, as he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and he's been in there against some really good grapplers: Bruno Silva, Muhammad Makayev, Nicolau, Pantoja. So I mean, this guy's obviously been out there against a bunch of guys that would be able to win minutes against him in the grappling exchanges, but he limited even their success. So it does look like a Manel Kape spot here, but god damn, this guy can be a really frustrating guy to bet on. I mean, like that even the Bruno Silva finish, he poked him in the eye. I don't think it was a clean finish. It was a good performance. He was definitely winning the fight. And it's not like Bruno Silva was going to come back and beat him. But, I think that that's just a little bit of an overrated win the last time out. And, the performance against Felipe dos Santos was okay. He lost to Makayev. We can forgive him for that. Obviously, Makayev's never lost. But Almabaev's taken a big step up in competition here. But the wins for Manel Kape just aren't really eye-openers yet. And the performances, leave a little bit to be desired in certain spots. So he's a very difficult guy, in my opinion, to lay juice on. I don't want to have any part of laying juice on Manel Kape here because we know, first of all, that Asu does have a path to victory here. If he out-grapples this dude, he's going to win probably. But I don't know what the odds of him being able to do that are. He's going to really have to wrestle his ass off. And it's a 5-round fight. So he's got to be real careful. He's got to be kind of economical with those takedown attempts so that he doesn't get tired here. Because if he gets tired and Manel's got something left in the tank, he's going to get knocked out. So it's an interesting clash of styles here, a striker versus grappler matchup. And I think that this fight probably finishes inside the distance.
Yep. If this, I think it's Kape here. I think it's Kape just because of those improvements with the takedown defense and the grappling. Agreed. And then I just think he's the better striker. So yeah, I like Kape to win. The over under set at 3.5, the over 3.5 minus 185, the under 3.5 plus 155, Kape minus 240, Asu Almabaev plus 205. Maybe like a Kape late props if Asu starts to slow down. Could potentially see that. Mostly excited to see Ribovics. Yeah, that Ribovics fight's going to be absolutely insane. 4-5 Kape is live, I think, against Asu at this level. Could be. All right. We did it. We went through all 12 fights, right? 12 fights on this card?
12 fights, yes.
All right. So what we have to do now is we have to get a Stat Diggers parlay, and then we have to give out the Stat Diggers on-site piping of the week. Which one do you want to come up with first? You want to do the parlay first or the on-site piping?
Well, I've got a pretty good idea for what I want to do for the on-site piping. I'm wondering if we're on the same page here.
Well, let's see. Here's what I'm thinking. I think there's going to be a couple pipings, and I also put a poll out for the chat to see what they think. So I put 4 names. Hopefully, one of these names are a guy you were thinking. So I put 4 names. I put Danny Barlow, I put Chepe Mariscal, I put Mario Pinto, and I put Danny Silva. Were any of those names that you like?
Yes.
Okay. The one I would pick is, I'd say it's between 2 for me. I think it's either Chepe Mariscal or Danny Barlow.
Yeah, I think it's going to be black on white violence here with Danny Barlow over Sam Patterson with that long ass neck and that high ass chin. I got a bad feeling that Sam's going to get slept here. And and if Sam had out grappled a couple of guys that were decent grapplers, then I'd be like, okay, there's a good chance that he could go out there against an athletic, explosive guy like Barlow and get a takedown and get to a dominant position against him. Because I think we know if Patterson does, if he does, get to a dominant position here against Barlow, Barlow's going to be in a ton of trouble because Sam can finish fights with that rear naked choke. But Sam's chin is a little bit suspect, and I think that Danny is just so explosive. I'm looking for a left hand to God, where Sam Patterson might see God for a little bit before he wakes up.
He might. He really might. He really might. So yeah, the on-site piping of the week, Danny, left hand to God, Barlow, which I think is a great transition to the Stat Diggers parlay, because the parlay piece I was thinking, I'm thinking the under in that Barlow Patterson fight. I think the under.
Yeah, I think that's a great look, man. I think that's a really good look.
Minus 125. So that's a pretty solid leg, I'm thinking. So I'll go with that as my
all right. God damn, let me see here. There's not a lot. I mean,
you could do a prop.
Yeah.
There's not many great parlayable money lines this week, I don't think.
Yeah, dude. Like, I don't want to parlay Gomis at minus 200. Not parlaying a heavyweight debutante at minus 370. I think Ribovics at minus 250 is just an overreaction from him being plus 180 versus Zellhuber. I'm not laying juice on Julian Marquez in the year 2025. Manel Kape, I don't want to lay juice on him. Charles, I think, is a live underdog against Temirov. Danny Silva, no. Luana Carolina, no. I mean, oh my God. Wait, what did you, and you went with the under in the Barlow fight. So like I can't take Barlow.
Yeah. Barlow's
not laying juice on Aldrich. Hell no.
Oh God.
Oh man. Castaneda.
Is that a playable line? Minus 230 against a 40-year-old? Yeah,
man. And like Douglas Silva de Andrade, I mean, he's still dangerous, but I think Castaneda's got more ways to win. And I think he can put a pace on him too. That's another thing that I like about Castaneda. Yeah, so why not? Let's go with the Minnesota product, John Castaneda at minus 230, along with some violence in that Barlow Patterson fight. What does that come out to?
Let's take a look. So what is the Castaneda line is minus 230, right?
I got plus 158 here. Castaneda minus 230, under 1.5 rounds at minus 125 comes out to plus 158.
All right, book it. Let's get it. I also think that's a good spot. The Brundage Marquez violence. I don't know about the but like we talked about, Weezy, are either of these guys good enough to finish the other guy?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I mean, they're both live to be finished, right?
Jeez.
But still, that Marquez is still a durable guy with a ton of heart. And Cody Brundage, I think, can like kind of win some minutes on the ground here. And I think that one might actually go over, as crazy as it sounds, man.
It could. You never know. You never know with those two guys. So, yep. So, Stat Diggers parlay of the week. We got the under 1.5 in the Barlow Patterson fight, parlayed with the Chepe. No, the John Castaneda money line, and then the on-site piping of the week is Danny left hand to God Barlow. There we have it. He used to be. Now that he's just not durable at all. Like a gust of wind apparently can knock him out. But he used to be durable. He used to be. I don't know what happened. Ever since the Miley Cyrus thing, just lost it. Just lost it. Laying juice on Aldrich gets my blood flowing. You do you, man. Minus 190 on JJ Aldrich. Oh, I think she wins a split though, so I think it hits. All right, so yeah, that's about it. Weezy, any final thoughts on the card, and also let the people know where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at Uncle Weezy. You can find me on the X at MMA Weezy. I'm going to be. I think I'm actually going to go live tomorrow night to do a little Ask Weezy about this card, Brady. I'm going to be switching my business over from Patreon and Dub Club over to Odds Shoppers. So I kind of want to announce that change and give people an idea of how to go support me over there and check out all the amazing tools that they've got on that website that I think are going to be a step up from the other places that I've had my business before. So looking forward to kind of like launching that this week, along with, breaking down a really interesting 12-fight Apex card that has got some really wide lines on it. So there's going to be some interesting props this week, and hopefully we can all find ways to stack cash tickets like flapjacks, keep this winning streak going, Brady, and maybe even hit another greasy 4-leg parlay this week.
Yeah, I'm loving this card. I'm loving it. A ton of spots are sticking out. And should be a good week. Should be a violent week. Tons of fun. I think we're in for a fun night of fights for sure. So, yep, we did it. All 12 fights. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Everybody in the chat was awesome. I think only one person pissed me off tonight, so that's good, which is great. I mean, over 500 people in the chat, only one person pissed me off. That's really good. So the chat's awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. My prediction video will be out tomorrow. Got pretty much all these fights taped and ready to go. Got my graphics done, so all I have to do is hit record. But I do want to get a good night's rest first. And then, of course, I'll be going live Friday, Saturday, all the good stuff. So be on the lookout. And, yeah, we got some good cards coming up, man. We have this card I think is a very underrated card in the Apex. We have UFC 313 coming up the week after this. We have UFC 314, which is looking to be one of the best cards of the year on paper. So some good stuff coming up. And again, like the video on your way out, subscribe to the channel, and we will talk to you guys very soon. See you later.